It must be Thursday. Welcome to the show. I'm Lee Michaels, and it is Street News Now, the network for the people, by the people, and that's what we do. And the show is called Six Guys and You. You are the most important part of the show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to remind you of that a little bit later. I was reading a report, and this is an important piece of information, I think, that says 80% of the people that watch YouTube are not subscribers. So we need you to subscribe. Now you say, well, I don't know how to do that. Real simple. If you have a Gmail account, you're automatically in because Gmail and YouTube is all connected. So just log in with your Gmail account. If you don't have a Gmail account, that's okay. You can use your current email. Any email address will get you connected to YouTube. And then you can join us, subscribe, like, comment, the whole nine. All right. So that's all it is. So we want to make sure that we can break down that 80%. I'd like to see it get down to only 10% of the people are not subscribers, but only you can prevent forest fires. That has nothing to do with what I just said. It's just, I felt like saying that. And the guy that can really understand that is Chris Bates. You know what I'm saying, right?
Smokey Bear, the old public
That's
service
right.
announcement. Yes.
That's right.
Only
Now,
you can prevent forest fires.
but they don't call it forest fires anymore.
No, they don't.
No. What do they call it now?
The Mother Hubbard's on fire.
Wildfires, they call it now.
Wild.
Not forest fires. I guess
Wild.
because sometimes it's not a forest.
Exactly. Outside the forest itself.
Yeah, it could be on the side of the road fire, or your house might be on fire.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't care. Let the mother burn.
That's right.
Speaking of burning,
yes, yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine, man. Still glad to be alive, brother. Still glad to be here in the land of the living. Now, I have a public service announcement I need to make, if you don't mind.
Let it rip.
Lee, you're a little blurry.
I know, but I didn't think you would detect that because your eyesight's getting kind of soft.
Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah. Let me see what
but I didn't want you to go through the whole thing because then everybody won't know if it's you or not. There you go. Yeah, now we can see. And he ain't bald headed, y'all. Boom, boom.
See, you want to start up and talk about bald heads and all that kind of stuff. No, hey, I'm not going down the road with you. You ain't gonna get the shit smacked out of me.
I know that's right.
It ain't gonna happen.
Oh man,
There'll be an ugly situation on the stage behind that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Corey, the next time you're in the studio, don't unplug my lights. Okay. It took me 20 minutes to figure out that the freaking light was unplugged. Screwdriver out, taking the light apart. Man, what's up, John Lewis? My favorite buddy of all time. But anyway, what an exciting week last week was. I was busy as crazy. I was down in LA with the Academy Awards, the Oscars, and boy, people were coming and going like left and right. And I ended up having a client. They didn't go to the actual awards, but they went to the after party. And let me tell you something. These guys in the film industry, they know how to party. We went to this house, and they had more security than the airport. I had to go through 3 levels of security to get to the house to drop the people off. Then I said, okay, do I come back to this location to pick up? They said, there'll be somebody down at the bottom of the hill that will explain to you what you're going to do. Okay. So I get down there and the guy says, we'll contact you. Don't call us. I don't have your number anyway, but we need yours. So I had to give up all my information, and then they called, but you're not allowed to enter the area where the house was, where you drop the people off. You have to go to another parking lot that's about a mile and a half away from the original location to pick the people up. And then there's a line of SUVs, regular cars, Sprinter vans, you name it, people being dropped off at this parking lot. So that was a hot mess, and they need to better organize that portion of it for sure, because they told me to come to pick up my clients, but they didn't show up for 50 minutes. So now you got all these cars in this parking lot, and it's jam packed. You got 30 cars out in the street, the main road coming into the parking lot. So they've got to get their timing together. They need a brother like me that, we work on time, seconds and minutes and hours. But these guys, they don't have it together. But anyway, that was my experience with the Oscars. Fun, long night. I didn't finish until 10 after 5 a.m. And then at 8 a.m., I'm on the road to Las Vegas, bringing a client up here. So I am in the Las Vegas studio tonight, folks. And good to be back.
Good to have you back, sir.
Yeah. And my son and my wife are in Hawaii on the Big Island. That's Corey in there. Corey's birthday is on tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. What's that? Number one son, number two son, number three son?
Number two. I only have two boys and one girl.
That's all you know about. What about
No, that's it. That's it. No, not that shit. No, and no. That is it. Brother.
I had a friend of mine
down
in New Orleans, right? He was a musician. All his life, he had been, in bands and playing the drum. He was a drummer and he sang a little bit. So he decided to start managing this bar. So we were sitting in there on a Thursday night, just me and him. And all of a sudden, this young man came in and he walked up to the bar. He said, are you JR? He said, depends on who's asking. He said, I'm your son. He said, who's your mama, boy?
That kid took all the fire out of that one.
Right. Then he said, who his mama was. Then he said, I did know your mama. I never will forget that as long as I live. He said, well, your mama never told me nothing, boy. He kept that boy in there for the intimidation factor.
Yeah, right.
So just in case he got an attitude, right?
Right. Come across that counter.
He said, well, that's boy, funny. Your mama never told me nothing, you know. Well, you got about 12 brothers and sisters that I know of, And the story gets worse.
Oh, no. I can't imagine that. What else could have happened after that?
Yeah.
When he said, hey, Dad, can I have a job?
No, he didn't ask him for no job. He asked him for his phone number, though.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, because I don't even know how he found out he was working in that bar as the manager. So that was interesting, So he must have been stalking him for a minute and picked his time.
Was this pre-internet?
Yes.
Okay.
This was like the middle 80s,
Yeah, he was beating the drums on that one.
Yeah, well, New Orleans is really a small town,
Yeah.
It's relative.
And he was a musician, and all the musicians know each other.
Everybody.
So you ask 10 people, and you're going to eventually find who you're looking for.
Exactly. Yep.
All right. Well, let's get the show started. We're missing 3 of our colleagues. Buck Wild was having some technical issues. I'm sure he'll pop up. And Professor was also having a few technical issues. And we haven't heard from Mike. Mike be out on the road. Who knows? All right, let's get this party cracking here. Go ahead, Chris. What's on your plate?
Oh, thank you, oh fearless leader. So, as everybody's been talking about, been pondering about, and getting on opposite sides, Hollywood is split down the middle. Either you're for a team Will Smith or a team Chris Rock. Even unborn babies are having opinions about that inside the womb of what's going on with this whole scenario. Now, me personally, I'm going to give you what I thought about a pre-incident. So pre-incident, the odds-on favorite was Will Smith to win the Best Actor award. Even his colleague, Denzel Washington, was, pitching and, playing and campaigning for, Will to win it. So I thought about the list of some Academy Award-winning Black actors. So the list I have is a short list of people. Hattie McDaniel, Sidney Poitier, Louis Gossett Jr., Halle Berry, again, Denzel Washington, Whoopi Goldberg, Jamie Foxx, Regina King, and Viola Davis. And so in my mind, I'm like, he's about to hit the pantheon of those names if he gets the award. And then the incident happened. And everything I thought about history-wise really had a stain on the whole thing. When you watch that thing over and over again, everybody has their theories, and everybody talks about, well, he did the right thing, meaning he was supporting his woman. That's what you're supposed to do, and take up for your wife, family, and things of that nature. But still, you had a man stroll up on stage, on a global stage now. This is not just, of course, national, international. And you smack another Black man in the face, which, again, it's more than insulting. Chris Rock has children, family, just like anybody else. And that would be replayed until the end of the world. For me, as I said on my Facebook status on Monday, it's a better way to handle that. If you're Will Smith, and once again, watching the tape, he was laughing, right along with Will, and his, and everybody around there when Chris was making the jokes, until Jada cut her eyes. Women cut their eyes. They master the eye cutting. And once she did that, it was lights out. And we know what happened after that. If you had a problem, go back to Will Smith. Hey, look, bruh, let me talk to you for a few ticks. And talk to him after the Oscar broadcast. Then you take care of it. We don't take care of it right then and there because it was wrong. And I give all the credit to Chris Rock. He could have retaliated if he wanted to. He could have hit back if he wanted to. And I would have been all for it. But Chris Rock, knowing the situation and knowing how it would look, didn't hit back. That takes strength. And people are going to say that he's a coward for doing it. And once again, it's split down the middle of all of this. You have people like Will Smith, who is a role model. It goes back to the old Nike slogan, commercial that Charles Barkley did, that I'm not a role model, teachers should be role models, everything else. But people look up to someone like a Will Smith. You create the good guy image. And this is what you do in return. And for me, watching the lowlights, or what I call it, it also ruined the tempo for everybody else. Because Chris Rock was there to present the Best Documentary Award, which went to Questlove for his 1969 Harlem Cultural Festival, the Summer of Soul. And he just ruined everything. And not saying that he didn't have a moment going back to Questlove and his producers that worked with him to create it, the documentary, but still, everybody was still humming over what happened prior to. Then Will Smith gets the award. In the acceptance speech, starts to cry and talk about love. Now, how the hell you talk about love? We just slapped the hell out of somebody prior to. What kind of love is that? I love smacking the shit out of somebody? What kind of love is that? That's not love. And then want to try to justify it by saying that he was like Richard Williams, the character he portrayed in King Richard. And even Richard Williams, who is now 80-something from a stroke, through his spokesman, through his son, said he denounced everything that Will Smith had talked about. And it's amazing how one event can trigger other events. Let's go the fact that you have someone like Will Packer, the Oscar producer, a man of color. The production staff were people of color. Before we started the broadcast, ABC News reported that Will Packer said the LAPD was ready to arrest Will Smith on the premises. Comedian Wanda Sykes, who was a part of the 3 hosting team on the Ellen Show, Wanda said Chris Rock went up to her and said, "I'm sorry." And she's like, "What are you apologizing for?" Because this should have been your moment. And now it's overshadowed by this stain. There are certain ways people can handle themselves. Nobody's walking on water here. But people do look up to you. People do admire you. And again, the global stage effect, people are going to see it for the rest of their lives, all over the world. Now, people will throw in the whole open marriage thing. But when you put your information out there to the public, it becomes content and fodder for anybody else. So comedians or just anybody look on the internet is going to know your business. Why? Because you put your business out in the street. And nobody should come after you. Nobody should say anything. Nobody should have an opinion about it. What, you're untouchable? No, you're not. People have a habit of putting celebrities on pedestals, just like the Greek gods back in ancient Greece. But then when they fall from grace, they don't admit how human they are. The open marriage thing, that was what they put out in the street. Some people do it secretly and you don't know. Case in point, Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee, God bless their souls, had an open marriage. Now, they had an open marriage, but they knew how to handle it in their own way, discreetly. You don't believe me? Ebony.com, the article came out in 2014. There's a way to deal with things. And the story will keep on growing and growing. It has grown since Sunday. It will continue to grow up probably another week. So I've not seen anything like this that's grown this much pretty much since O.J. Simpson, where everybody got comment about something. Everybody just goes all over the world. But I am with Chris Rock on this. Just the fact that his ticket sales went from what, $46 a pop to a damn near $1,000 a pop. Yeah, something positive should come out of this. I'm sorry that it happened to him because, again, he has family and friends like anybody else, humiliated on a national, international stage. And sometimes we do it to ourselves. And that's the damn thing a whole about it. And just to wrap it all up, going back to Hattie McDaniel, 1940, who won for Best Supporting Actress for Gone with the Wind, was given her acceptance speech. Why? They thought she was unintelligent to form her own words. And you fast forward to 2022. It's sad.
I hadn't heard that, but not surprised because that was back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
The perception was that a Black person's ability or IQ was not up to standards from their point of view, at least. Yeah, I got an interesting, well, not interesting point of view, but I have questions about what happened there on the stage. I've got mixed emotions about the whole thing, but let me just lay it out this way. First of all, I think that many comedians, radio personalities, television personalities, internet influencers, so-called, bloggers, streamers, have lost the sense of sensitivity. There are certain things that we need to be sensitive to. If, and I don't know the answer to this, if Chris Rock knew that Jada had a medical issue, he was not sensitive, and he should have been more sensitive to making that comment because it would offend her, hurt her feelings. if he didn't know, now he knows. And I would hope that in the future, and I'm not trying to suggest we censor comedians, but you need to censor yourself. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's the same thing in the music industry. Just because you can say all kind of offensive words and demean various types of people in our society doesn't mean it's okay. Doesn't mean that you should. So I think we need to be aware and more sensitive to that. And no, a comedian does not get a pass to be hurtful because you can get away with it because you're a comedian. But is that right? Is that being sensitive? Is that being fair? Is that being human? And I'm talking from my experience as a radio broadcaster. There were many opportunities when I could have allowed, or my radio personalities, my staff had the leadway, but they didn't go over the line because they knew that would be offensive. And you don't have to go over the line to be successful. So I think it's a teachable moment here. And I hope that Chris learned something from it. And I sure hope that Will Smith learned something from it, and Jada and everybody else, everybody that watched what happened. I didn't see it because I was out with my client, but when the client got in the car, it was two young, I would say they're in their mid 30s, white ladies, and they were appalled. They were upset about it. And when they told me, I almost thought they were making it up. I said, "No, you're kidding me. No, it didn't happen. Come on." They said, "No, Chris Rock got smacked on international television." I went, "No, Will didn't do that, did he?" So apparently, it was not apparently, it was shocking to everyone. Even the people right behind Will when he went back to his seat, the facial expressions on the people were still like in shock. So I can only say that I pray for everyone in this situation, and I hope that there's some positive outcome in it because it's needed. We need some positive outcome here, and I hope that it doesn't get to a legal situation. I mean, certainly Chris has the right to do that, but I hope it doesn't. I hope that Chris and Will have a meeting without their PR people involved, just two men having a conversation and working through this situation. And I that's what I hope for. Now I know there's some people out there that probably think that, I'm looking at it upside down or whatever, but I'm trying to look at it from a standpoint of how can we prevent this in the future? Now Chris went to Boston, did two shows in Boston, sold out. He didn't make jokes about it. He said that he would be making comments down the road later. Who knows what that means? But certainly, I look at it as a punt. Let me stay away from this. Let's let this thing cool down, and that's exactly what needs to happen. And I was reluctant about even saying anything about it but we have to, and that's my spin on it.
Well, first of all, I want to say that it was definitely a very well produced production. For the first time of the producers being black and doing this show, it was very well put together. Now, the tragedy that took place with Will, yes, it was a very bad judgment call. Having been a person that have been on many sides of this scenario, I have done live productions on stage. I have produced them. One of the questions that I had asked when Lee and I were talking about it yesterday or the day before was, and I didn't know the answer, but most of the presenters and even the hosts, their monologue was on the teleprompter. So if Chris's monologue was on the teleprompter, that means somebody had to okay it in order for it to be on the teleprompter. And I know a lot of people that don't deal with those types of live productions may not be aware of that. But even the three main hosts, Wanda Sykes and Regina and what's her?
Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer, yeah. All of their monologue was on the teleprompter. So if that were the case, you know, they paid Chris to go out there to do a presentation to give away an award. And you know, some comedians that were commenting on this the last couple of days, there was quite a few of them. Like you said, everybody's got a comment. One of the rules of thumb, you know, as being a host and a moderator, you know, standing on stage, you have to know your audience. You have to know your audience. You know, you know, he has been the host of that show before. So whether they let him go out and just freestyle it, that's very possible that he went out and freestyled the entire monologue. But it's something to think about. If somebody put in the teleprompter, go ahead on and crack on her, then Chris is not guilty by himself. Okay, just something to think about. Now, the scenario with Will, I think he should have owned it a little bit more than what he did. If you're gonna walk up on stage, on the world stage, slap somebody, and go back to your seat like you a thug, when it came time for you to go up and accept your award, it should not have been a tear. He should have just like, yeah, I did it. You know, because if you're gonna be a thug, be a thug. You know, you don't need to be sitting up there crying like some little girl, you know, after the fact. Okay. You know, so that to me was too far the opposite direction of what you just did. Now, granted, I've seen video clips when they went to commercial that Denzel Washington and Tyler Perry came up and prayed for him during the commercial break. And I'm talking about Will. Okay. They prayed for him. But that was not a Jesus moment when he was up there crying. He wasn't crying because, oh, praise the Lord. He was crying because he had messed up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was filled with emotions and probably saying, oh shit, you know, I messed up. You know, I'm sure there was a lot of things going through his head at that point.
Exactly. But own it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
you walk up on stage,
Ron, I disagree with you.
And a thug.
No,
grown ass man.
No, that's a bad idea because they would have kicked his ass out of there with guards on his arms.
Have.
No.
And they should have.
No.
They should have kicked him out there.
He didn't. He showed some remorse and emotions about what he had done. So I'm not saying give him a pass. I'm saying he screwed up and he knows it. He knew it shortly thereafter. Okay. It didn't turn out well, but he had to go up there and be soft. He couldn't go up there and say, yeah, man, I'll smack you again. No.
I'm not saying that.
But that's
I'm
being
not
a
saying,
thug.
and I'll smack you again, but go up there and like, look.
What do you think he should have said then?
I don't think he should have addressed the comment at that moment. He should have said, thank you for the award. I got some issues to work through, and got the hell on out of there. Let's go. Just get out of here. Okay. That would have been a better response than sitting up there crying. They ain't gonna invite me back no more. You know,
no, then we would have had something to say about that. So
yes,
he would have been damned
but
if he did.
Went for
if he
bad, Lee. He went for bad. He walked up on stage and slapped a grown man. Right. Now let me say this, because I hear a lot of comments. A lot of people have said that, okay, it's the Source Awards. Black folks ain't gonna be allowed to come back. I think that's garbage, because first of all, Will Smith does not represent the entire Black community in Hollywood. Okay, you know, so one person screwed up, one person will be held accountable.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let Buck.
I see his hand. Go ahead, Buck.
Well, you know, I don't want to interrupt anybody because I get in trouble when I do that.
Oh, so, just make your comment and go ahead, boy.
The question is, do any of you remember what was the very first thing you thought when you saw the show or the clip from the show?
I thought it was a bit.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't real. Yeah.
Planned.
Okay. So what I was thinking when you guys were talking was, oh, this is so cute. You guys are so cute. It's TV. It's TV. You think everything you see on TV is real? No, it's entertainment. It was a bit.
No.
Well, there was quite a few people that said that too. They
thought it
was a bit. And you know what? It was smart. It was. Listen, think about it. Publicity. This is the new paradigm we live in when it comes to publicity. You want people to talk about you, you do something to get attention. It's a publicity stunt. And his publicist did a great job. He pays them a lot of money. Get them in the news. And this is the kind of publicity you can't even buy. You couldn't buy. Neither one of them could buy.
You're telling me that Chris and Will Smith concocted this situation.
It's TV, Lee.
No,
it's
man.
TV.
No. I understand TV. I get
and
that.
Why would you think it's not?
Because
why is it so out of the realm of possibility?
No.
Sir.
Will Smith smacked the shit out of Chris Rock. And Chris Rock said that. That was real. Yeah, didn't you hear the smack?
Yeah, but dude, they're actors. One of them just won Best Actor. He won an Oscar for Best Actor. Yeah, you don't think actors could have pulled it off? No, best actor, not even good actors. He's the best actor this year.
No.
And why not, Mr. Michaels?
I ain't going
because that's not what happened. Believe your lying eyes.
I'm not going. I'm not going with that either.
How do you know?
Because I saw Chris Rock get smacked in the face. I heard the smack.
On
there was
TV.
No sound effect. It was not a sound effect, bro.
On TV.
Okay, so what? What is that? Just
if
because
there were
it was
no
on
cameras
TV?
around, if it happened on the street, there were no cameras around, or even in a comedy club. That's okay.
But it happened on international
for the cameras.
Television.
Right, for the cameras.
Well, okay.
You think they didn't know they were on TV?
One of the...
We'll see what happens when the Academy gives their rule about how they're going to chastise him.
And what do you think they're going to do?
And that'll be fake too, right?
Yeah.
What do you think they're going to do?
One of the things that was released today and on GMA in the morning television was the interview with the producer of the show. He said they had Chris Rock in his office and the LAPD. And they asked Chris, what is it that you want us to do? We will arrest him, handcuff him, take him out of here right now.
They wouldn't go do nothing.
Okay, now that was the conversation that was talking about what took place after the slap. So it was a conversation. If it was fake, then why would the police be involved in an interview and a conversation about that? You know, that's just, you know, hey, they were ready to deal with it.
The police weren't in on it.
Mm-hmm.
No,
dude,
Buck,
I
I
don't
understand.
see what's so out of the. It's TV.
It's
Do you
possible.
believe everything you see on TV?
But listen, by now,
goodness, this is so silly to me.
No. By now, if it was a prank, they would have said, "Hey, it was just a prank," because they didn't.
What makes you think that? Well, you just pull that right out of your ass, Lee.
No. Because it's devastating to everybody involved, dog.
Devastating. Oh, what's devastating, Lee?
Will Smith's career could be kiboshed.
His career has never been better.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, think about it. Okay.
We'll see if your theory is real.
Okay. So a friend of mine works on this national radio show. We were talking the other day, and he said the same thing. Oh, it had to be real. It had to be real. Everything on TV is real.
Everything on TV is not real.
And he cited the Taylor Swift Kanye West thing, right? You think that was fake? I said, no, I don't think that was fake. But if you look at it, he's like, yeah, it was terrible publicity. I said, yeah, but look at both of them now. Kanye is doing better than anybody could have ever predicted. And Taylor Swift she is the biggest pop star in the world. So you tell me, how bad was it? Publicity. That's what the name of the game is. That's how you win in Hollywood. But Jussie Smollett went to jail for that, trying to get this kind of publicity.
And that was a dumb idea.
But guess what?
That was
Will Smith pulled it off.
Idea.
Will pulled it off.
Well, we don't know yet. It ain't over. We don't know. I mean, Chris could have a change of heart and press charges. I don't think that he will.
When his shows are selling out like they are, this is the best thing that could have ever happened to either one of them. How can you get talked about?
I think there's some negative blowback on Chris.
How can you get this kind of how can you get people to talk about you all week long on every news channel, every station, every conversation between almost everybody in the world for almost a week now?
No. Listen, he did not have to slap Chris Rock to get that kind of publicity. He won a freaking Oscar. They were going to talk about him all week anyway.
No, they were not like this, Lee.
Oh, come on, man.
Not like this. No.
Well, yeah, it's sensational. And that's what my opening statement about this whole thing is. You have to be sensitive. And there was some insensitivity on Chris Rock's behalf. He should have been more sensitive. He should not have done that joke, knowing that it could offend Jada.
What if he didn't know? What if he didn't know she had alopecia?
If he didn't know, then I'll give him a pass. But if he knew,
what if he didn't know?
Then that was in poor taste.
I think. Well, I don't even think it's a matter of knowing or not knowing. I think it was all. It's
okay.
TV. I mean, all I can say is it's TV. It's entertainment, and it worked. And they did it was brilliant.
Well, okay. I'm glad you see an upside on it from that perspective.
Oh, yeah.
But it was not.
We wouldn't be talking about him otherwise.
Fake. I don't know.
We wouldn't have been talking about him otherwise.
We would have been saying congratulations. We would have been saying congratulations to Will Smith for winning the Oscar.
Yes, okay? And that was it. And that would be a one line, and that would be it. We'd be talking about something that's real important that affects all of us.
Yes.
Like we normally do.
Because of what happened, it is overshadowing something very important that impacts on all of us, Americans, and that's Clarence Thomas's wife. Now, over a year ago, we reported this on Street News Now. We did 1 minute and 27 seconds on it. In fact, Apollo did a recording about it. And so it's finally coming to fruition, coming to the top of minds of most people. But then there are people that don't believe that she was wrong. But we saw this insurrection on television. Was that fake?
No, that wasn't fake. Okay. But it wasn't there for television.
But it was televised. It was televised.
But that wasn't the purpose. The Oscars was televised.
Oh, it was absolutely the purpose. They needed publicity to get their idea, their ideology out of overthrowing the election. Absolutely, they needed television for that. Okay. Absolutely.
That's right. You're right. Everything on TV is real.
Okay. I didn't say that. I agreed with
you're
you on that
implying.
point.
I believe it. I believe it. It was on TV.
Okay.
That's what it sounds like.
Wait.
Not just you. I mean, is
That
everybody
was
talking
real.
about this bullshit all week?
That
like-
was real.
Wait, why did you use the slave voice with that was
I do a
cold.
pretty good slave too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
sir.
was
It
cold
was on
right
TV. It sure was real.
Yeah.
It sounds
Well,
like that sounds like
I
that sounds
thought
like
you
cotton
said you
picking
didn't
voice.
know him.
No. Now, you know, I try to pride myself on keeping it real as much as I can, right? First of all, that belch was for you, Buck.
Oh, I appreciate it. I loved it.
I know. Exactly. I hope it smelled well. Because you full of SHELLINGMACKWILDE. Okay. You can't, you don't try to figure it out. All right.
Thanks.
You know, the funny part about, and you did this with me yesterday, a day before yesterday. You know, he's got this matter of fact. Oh, it's tea. I'm telling you, this what it is. If you guys don't believe it, you're crazy. You're from another planet. Stop.
I didn't say that.
But that's the way it's coming on.
But it's TV.
Okay, look at your facial
it's
expression.
Entertainment.
No, look at your facial expression.
It's entertainment, and
Yeah,
we're all in entertainment.
No. Now, the part that I'm going to agree with you on is that it could have been staged, but staging that would have been the most ridiculous idea that anyone ever had in show business.
Well, but see, here's the thing, Mike. You're not a publicist. If you were a publicist, you might think it was...
How you know I'm not a publicist?
In Hollywood, you're a Hollywood publicist.
All right, now, slow down. Now.
Hollywood publicist. I'm just saying that it was for a Hollywood publicist. This was gold. This was platinum.
But this isn't.
I don't think a Hollywood publicist would put their freaking career on the line.
Right.
No,
this ain't about
his career coming up with some foolishness like this. That's
they had to agree to it. They had to agree to it. It's not like
testing 1 2.
No.
Testing 1 2 3.
Professor, come on in.
Testing 1 2.
We got you.
Testing 1 2 3.
Go ahead, bro.
Let me Chris Bates, I'm getting ready to hit some pootie tang.
For the pot of trois. Get that pootie tang for the pot of trois.
Go ahead, Reggie. Spit it out.
Let it out.
Didn't y'all hear it?
We saw it.
Didn't you hear it? That was Pootie Tang, man. That was the #1 hit that I put down.
I know. It was censored. It was censored by the
Academy. Hey. All right. Okay, so Buck comes with his drama. It's TV. It was cool. I could have went along with your program, Buck, but he opened his mouth.
Right.
He opened his mouth. He said, "Keep my wife's out of your
mouth." Right.
Yeah.
And
he said that. So
that's
what messed it up. If he had went,
how so?
If he had went and look, sometimes if you're gonna do something, just do it. And then you could have went with the program that was staged.
He was improvising, dude.
I don't know about no improvising, but because he said it twice.
And?
Okay, now but aside from that, why is it that you cotton pickers always get on the biggest stage and you cotton pickers start acting like cotton pickers?
Amen.
You on the biggest stage with a black production company, black music director, everything black, and then all of a sudden you want to be a cotton picker.
That's why it was fake.
No, I don't know about that. I don't know about that because
hey, Ron said it. He ain't no thug.
Listen, now wait a
he
minute.
Was acting like a thug.
Buck, I didn't say nothing. When y'all was talking, I didn't say nothing.
Sorry. So you're right. Sorry.
He muted himself.
I was being cool. I listened, and I watched. But why is it that we're sitting here justifying a cotton picker being ghetto when we at the highest part? Why are we justifying that? Y'all know I want to say what I want to say in the green room, but I can't say it now because I have to be cool. But why are we justifying? You can take a cotton picker out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of a cotton picker.
What a field.
I was just thinking that.
You understand? So I wanted to say it like I could say it if we were.
But you're showing sensitivity.
Yeah,
so I got you.
So I'm being cool because we on TV. So this is staged right here. So I'm staging. I'm staging that my feeling about the embarrassment. Okay, so now you're gonna have other cotton pickers thinking they can go in a comedy club and be sensitive because Will was sensitive, protecting the honor of his women. And then, I read some feminists saying, well, she didn't really need him to do nothing. She should have been talking herself. The feminist is saying that. So then again, brothers, we on the front. We on Front Street. Now, you are absolutely correct. Chris is going straight to the bank on that slap. All his stuff is selling out. But then again, that's true. But then again, the darling that was Will Smith, the corporate folk don't get back off of him because of the way Chris played it. They're not gonna let both Negroes at the same time make plenty of money. They're gonna choose. So it's Chris's turn now. But Will got enough money that to where he just got the Oscar, he can just say F it and move on into the sunset. He done made enough money to where he can just say, it's like when you hit the lottery and you go to your job, to your boss, and just tell him, I don't need this job, F you, and I'm gone. He can do that now.
But he's got a book that still sells, and his wife has the Red Table Talks.
All that's fine. He can ride off, and he can ride off into the sunset. But what he's going to be known for is the slap. That's what he's going to be known for. And the image that he put out to all the little young cotton pickers is that now cotton pickers think that when they get emotional, they can walk up to somebody and on stage and stuff like that and then slap him. But where was the security at the contemporary war? So the producer said, well, since we got all these highfalutin Negroes up in here, we don't have to worry about the cotton pickers going to the ghetto. Wrong. A cotton picker will be a cotton picker. Soon as you give a cotton picker a chance to be a cotton picker, no matter where they is, they're always going to revert to their animalistic selves. Mm-hmm. And that's the worst blanking image that could have been put down for us as a people.
Agreed.
Now, I saw a commentary from a psychoanalyst that spoke about what she witnessed. And just like in the past, we have witnessed people that have achieved certain levels of success have meltdowns in public, Kanye. What Will did she explained was a cry for help. Okay. And by it being a cry for help, that's something that needs to be addressed and dealt with. They went on to say that he wrote a book. In the book, he explained how he was not able to defend his mother when his father was, abusing her. And that was one of the most hurting things in his life. So there was probably some crossover feelings and emotions that entered into his behavior pattern that caused him to react the way that he reacted. But the tears and the immediate remorse, all of that, they said is definitely a cry for help. So I'm just regurgitating what somebody else has said.
I understand, and here we go. Here we
Hilarious.
go. We gotta sit here and we gotta justify. We gotta justify some of our top tier cotton pickers.
Well,
being a cotton picker on a national stage. A top tier.
Right. But he's still human.
Listen.
It could happen to you. It could happen to me. It could happen to anybody.
Absolutely.
When your emotions get the best of you, you make mistakes.
So all of a sudden,
I'm not making excuses.
All of a sudden, it's been 999 Oscar awards. We finally get there with a black producer, black music director, and then all of a sudden, our top tier Negroes, they've been abused, got all this money, and now all of a sudden they're gonna have a meltdown for all these other little cotton pickers to get this image and follow that and then live by that. Oh man, I can get to the top at the top of the hill of my stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm gonna go crazy.
But I
got all this money in the world.
That ain't the first time it's happened to a human.
It
happens. It doesn't just happen to black people. It happens to white people as well.
I'm agreeing with you on that. Now I can't go down the list of all the historical people, all the people that's won this award, that's been there, that's having these mental issues. I can't deal with that. But for us, we can't afford nothing like that. We can't afford that. First of all, we got to be better at everything. If it's just the bar is just 2 inches for them, it's 6 inches for us. So you can't take one step forward and then have to come back 5. Now, when is the next black company going to produce the awards? Where was the security at? They never should have let him get to the stage in the first doggone place. They never should have let that happen. Where was
they just let any old body up, huh?
Right, they never should. Right, but the thing is, Professor, everybody thought it was cool.
Anybody on that front row like that has a certain amount of
status.
Absolutely.
I mean, well, that's exactly the point I'm trying to make.
And I don't know that this has ever happened at the Oscars before.
I saw it in my life. I saw it in The Bodyguard.
That was a movie. Come on,
but hold on a minute.
Bodyguard was
that was a movie.
But hold on a minute.
I saw it in The Bodyguard.
That was a movie.
I think Lee makes a valid. Yeah, a real movie. Lee makes a valid point. In the position that they're in, there should have been bodyguards, but even if there was a bodyguard standing next to his table, nobody saw that coming. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't
a great bit.
Stop. Stop. You trying to put people under hypnosis, Buck, that it wasn't. I mean, you using everything possible. It doesn't make sense. And the reason I'm gonna tell you why.
Well, why they didn't do this this big bunt with some white folks?
There you go.
No, because you know why? Because N-words it fit.
Cotton picking.
Sorry, whatever.
So
I resent everything you guys are saying about that. It's a human. Listen. It was a human emotion
breakdown.
Absolutely. And it could
It
happen
wasn't
to
staged,
anybody.
man.
Well, the name of the game is
It wasn't a
you
black
asked
thing.
for it. The name of the game is you asked for it, not what's my line. He been working to go through that mental breakdown. The boy done the young man and he done went through all the ringers. He done had all the roads done led to his success. He done did everything. And so now all of a sudden, since he done got it, the burden has been so heavy on him. He got all this money. Now he gonna break down when black people is producing it. Black people is music directors. We all on top of it. Now we got to be the first one to break down too. I ain't going out with that, Lee.
No, but that
I ain't going out with that, Lee.
I agree with this guy right here.
That's
but you can't agree with him.
Because it was staged.
Stand with what when you say it was staged. How are you agreeing with him?
I'm agreeing with him that even though it was staged, it was a poor thing to do.
No, you can't have both. No,
yes, you can.
You
cannot. You said it was a great thing. It was staged and everybody benefits from it.
When I said great, I mean like
ways.
It worked.
Buck, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
Everybody's talking about it.
But that doesn't mean it's negative.
Yeah.
What is it supposed to be positive? Now you know what would have been cool if Chris hit the deck, like basketball players do on the basketball court in the NBA. Yeah. They fall down and act like, oh my goodness, foul! I'm hurt.
Right.
That's what he should have. That would have been funny.
Yeah, I forgot what they call it. It's
but Chris Rock is a better actor.
A flop.
Is not as good of an actor. It's not as good of an actor.
But it wasn't. I'm telling you. I mean, you're entitled to your own opinion. But I'm gonna just tell you something. It sounds silly because, and I'm gonna tell you the reason that it sounds silly. Not because you're saying it, but it basically what the professor said. He covered about 80% of it. It took too long to get here. You would have to be stupid.
Or
even
selfish.
If Will, hold on a second. If Will Packer came and said, "Hey man, I got an idea. This is our shot. We got we got black host. Will's gonna win the big award. All these things are gonna happen. Let's make it look like we don't get along." Why?
I didn't say that Will was in on it.
I'm just saying. I didn't say Will. I'm just.
So who are the two people that conspired this? Then, according to you, who do you say put this plot together?
Will Packer or Will Smith?
I'm talking about Will. Either one. What I'm saying, Will Packer for right now.
Okay.
Because
I don't think he was in on it.
Well, he would have to be in on it. He produced it.
Right.
No. Stop, dude. Stop, please.
Everything that went on that stage
was approved by Will Packer.
Yes.
Now stop, Buck.
It was his show.
Don't do that.
It was his show.
Yeah, you can't. And you're flashing your eyes and doing that. Stop doing that. It's because that's not convincing. It's not convincing.
Well, I don't care whether you're convinced or not.
I'm not talking about whether
you, Mike.
It's not about you convincing me. But we're on a panel together, and we're talking about something that was really, really mind-boggling. Okay? Apparently mind-boggling.
Right.
When I'm saying these things to you, what I'm saying is I'm not addressing you personally. What I'm saying is that all the ideas, it's just like I saw one of the things they said 60% of the women thought he did the right thing. Over 60% of the women who made comments said they thought he did the right thing.
I saw that.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So that's what I said. I'm not directing this at you. You my dog. What I'm saying is it makes no sense. And right now I'm saying with what the professor's saying is so hokey that you would have to be a straight idiot if you were in on the meeting.
Or selfish or extremely selfish. And people of that stature oftentimes are.
But wait a minute. Who would be selfish?
Will Smith.
But he gets
what's the upside for Will Smith to go up there and smack that boy like that?
Everybody is talking about him.
But listen.
Hey, listen though. Think about this for a second.
What is he going to gain from that? What's the positive outcome?
Think about this for a second, right? A lot of people believe that I can do whatever I want. All I got to do is just apologize, and the next day everything's gone. Everything's good.
No.
All I got to do is just
Only
apologize.
an idiot thinks
I'll get
that
up and I'll
way.
start crying and
Only an idiot
apologize
thinks
to
that.
the Academy and all that. And then the
No.
next day I'll put something out on Twitter and it'll be all good.
That's an idiot.
It won't be safe to have no comedy shows in the hood. You had to shut
Will
them all
Smith doesn't
down
do comedy shows.
because
Yes, he does. He's
no-
got a comedy tour.
When?
He has a comedy tour on the road right now.
Will Smith?
Yes, sir.
no comedy in the black neighborhood.
You be saying a lot of stuff that I've never heard of.
That don't mean that it's not true.
That's why I'm looking it up. I mean, I'm not saying it's not true.
No, Will Smith, he meant to say Chris Rock.
No, he
No,
didn't.
Chris Rock is on tour too. Why
would Will Smith have a comedy tour?
He is producing a comedy tour right now.
Well, when I Googled it, all it comes up is Chris Rock's comedy tour. So I don't know where you got that from, Ron.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'm sure it was probably a very credible.
Well,
it was on
he
TV.
has been doing interviews on all the Entertainment Tonight shows, talking about some of the guests that he has been allowing to perform on his tour.
Now,
maybe the internet hasn't gotten up on that yet.
Well, now and then
it's not on the internet.
Yeah, and then since we talking about Twilight Zone type information, so it's been reported that, I mean, one side says that both sides had these apologies, and it comes out of Chris Rock camp that he ain't apologized saying nothing to nobody.
That was fake. That was fake. That was a whole.
What was fake? The apology or
the apology? He never actually said. He never put that out.
All right. So
yeah.
Well, Chris never put out an apology.
Yeah.
That's what.
He
I saw it, and
to what's the lady's name? The comedian. She was on TV this morning talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said you don't need to apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. What's her name?
That goes back to Wanda Sykes. That was Wanda Sykes.
I read that that apology that he supposedly put out was actually fake, that he said he just did not say that. That wasn't him. Well,
let me say this. I think what you're talking about was almost 48 hours ago when they said he did an apology, and they came out and said he hadn't said anything. But that was almost 2 days ago.
And so he said, "Now, okay, let me look that up."
Yeah,
he apologized to Wanda Sykes, and she said to him, "You don't owe anybody an apology. You didn't do anything wrong."
So what was he apologizing for?
I guess he was feeling sorry, for what he said.
Yeah, and I said when I brought the topic up, he was on Ellen going back to Wanda Sykes was on Ellen, and Wanda Sykes said to Ellen that Chris Rock went up to her and apologized, and she was like, "What are you apologizing for?" Because the incident, because it's supposed to be her time and Amy Schumer's time, and and Regina's time to be the three hosts on the program, and it overshadowed the whole thing.
Oh, so he didn't apologize to Will Smith.
Not 2 days ago when that came out. Now, if he apologized, I saw some stuff today where people were putting on Twitter and that kind of stuff. But we don't know at this point, unless you see it. Attribution has to be there. It has to be.
USA Today says that Chris Rock did not apologize.
Okay, yeah. So there's no attribution saying that he apologized. You need something that's coming from the AP news desk or something to that effect. That's why attribution is so important in the media, because people can come up with anything and say somebody said something.
But if it's on TV, it's real.
So, and y'all know I'm getting ready. Y'all know I'm getting ready to go here, right? Y'all know I'm
getting ready to get muted, boy.
Y'all know I'm getting ready. Y'all know I'm getting ready to go there. Now, go here. Now, I would be more inclined to agree with anything, but what everybody is saying. If we own both the Oscars and we own the TV station, if we owned all this, I would be going for it. But since we don't own nothing, no part of it, we have to be extra cool. Because you just can't act the way you want to act on somebody else's, stage. You can't do that. You just can't do that. And, that act that Will Smith did was, that was not cool. You can take a cotton picker out of the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out of a cotton picker. You know, that was just not cool.
Professor, I agree with you. But so if it was on TV1, it would have been okay.
Now, but TV1 still ain't owned by itself either, Buck. That's all an illusion.
I don't give a damn who owns the media. It was an inappropriate act that Will Smith did. Period. Yeah. If it was in a nightclub, it would have been the same. My opinion on it would have been the same.
I feel the same way. But you know, like and this is, I can segue into this other thing. See, we talk about how we act on everybody else's stage, but yet and still the Black News Network folded, and I never seen it.
I saw it.
I never saw it. I never saw it one day, but I read that it folded and they filing for bankruptcy. I never seen it. Now that's what we should have been talking about.
Who owns it?
Yeah, I mean, not only
the
who
Jacksonville
owns it,
Jaguars owner.
But it folded. After 2 years, it folded, and I never seen it. I never seen it. Go ahead.
Part of the problem was, though, that it was based in Tallahassee, Florida, which nobody gives a crap about, instead of being based in Atlanta or somewhere where they're, news.
Well, it was based in Tallahassee, Florida, because it was next to FAMU. Down there next to FAMU, and FAMU got a, top-notch journalism school, for HBCU. So, but I'm trying to figure. I never saw it. I did.
Neither have I.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
I mean, but I never saw it.
Well, it obviously had bad distribution.
Yeah, so it couldn't make no money.
That'll kill it right there.
The only reason I saw it is because a news anchor that was a big news anchor here, one of the most beautiful women I ever seen in my life. She quit and they picked her up, and so she was on in the morning. Goodness, she was fine.
But like I said, I never
That's
saw.
The only reason I watched.
I didn't see it one time. So if we have networks or if we have media outlets and that our own people can't see, and nothing is ever gonna survive.
I want to change the topic here. Let's talk about Clarence Thomas's wife and Clarence Thomas. That, to me, is more damaging than what we're talking about in terms of Will Smith. Will Smith will have to pay the consequences, whatever it's going to be. And I'm sure it's going to be something. But that's on him. And he's a big boy and he's worth, $500 million or whatever it is. He will be okay. Now, Clarence Thomas's wife was calling the chief of staff of Trump, telling him what he needed to do and to get Trump to do what he needed to do. And her husband was the only Supreme Court justice that voted not to support the idea of giving up Trump's information to the investigators. That's important. And it happens to be a black man in the middle of this again.
Kind of.
Well, okay, you can make fun of that, but the problem here, guys, is the power in the hands of people that make decisions that impact on your life. Period. That's more important than a slap on the stage, to me, because the impact is forever. The decisions that Clarence Thomas and the rest of the Supreme Court justices will impact on not just your life,
wait a minute.
My life, but our children and our...
Lee, what did you call him, Clarence?
Clarence Thomas.
I thought his name was Tom. Tom Thomas.
It is.
You mean like an uncle?
Actually, Uncle Tom wasn't a real bad character.
Okay, we can get into the names and stuff, but the problem I have is this man sits on the top court in the United States of America, making decisions about what's right, fair, and just on the American people.
Come on, man. He Man, listen, he's a African American entrepreneur. All he was doing was getting paid. He getting paid to play his position. This man ain't cared about rights or nothing like that. He never.
And then
that's how he got to be a judge.
Then he needs to go. It's time for him to be removed.
You know,
but the sad thing about he can't be removed.
That's
he
right.
He can be impeached.
No, they said he cannot be removed.
No, he can be impeached.
No, they said
there's been one Supreme Court justice impeached before. So
okay,
if it's good then, it's good now.
Well, no, they said there were lower judges that were impeached.
No, a Supreme Court justice was impeached.
Okay,
look it up.
Because when they were talking about it on this week, they were saying that there had never been any rules on regulations, and they need to address that and put something in place.
Well, that's true. That part is true. There are different set of rules that apply to federal judges that don't apply to the Supreme Court justices.
Right.
So yes, that is true. But that's not just. It's not right. It's not fair, and it opens up Pandora's box for criminals to do stuff that they shouldn't be doing. And the same thing with the presidency. Okay, Donald Trump was allowed to get away with the crazy stuff that he did and said, and it looks like things are being uncovered every day. Now there's a 7-hour gap in his phone records on January 6th.
Right.
How is that even possible?
Well,
when you're a criminal, a lot of things are impossible.
That's what they've discovered.
Lee.
Yes, sir.
Term limits.
Well,
this is an easy fix because we've discussed this time and time again. Our country is politically corrupt.
It is, but the only way you're going to get term limits set on the House, the Senate, or the Supreme Court is the people that are in power now have to vote in that direction.
And that's the problem.
And they're not going to vote. They'll take themselves out. They're not going to do it. You know?
Me?
The only way it's going to happen, and even Mitch McConnell said it, there are term limits. Don't vote for me.
Right.
He didn't say that, but I'm saying it. Don't vote for him. Don't vote for the people that you don't think are representing this country.
Well, one of the
Republicans, they cheat so badly with the whole redistricting.
Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute.
They'll turn that and say the Democrats are corrupt, and some of them are. There's no question about that.
Wait a minute.
But they know how to navigate the narrative and put it right back on the opposition.
Wait a minute.
And people believe that.
Wait a minute. Tweedledee and Tweedledum have been two notes that have been singing in these tunes that have been played in this for the longest. The Repcons today were Dems. You understand? The Republicans today were once Democrats, and the Democrats today were once Republicans.
Back when the Dixiecrat days.
Well, however it is, you understand, because my granddad, right? You couldn't make my granddad not vote Republican.
My dad was a Republican.
You understand? Because he was following the thing of Lincoln, one of them Lincoln Republicans. And
my dad would be 120 years old or something now, so it goes back a long way.
Yeah, so
my mom was a Democrat, my dad was a Republican, and I remember sitting at the dinner table hearing them debate political issues.
But at a time, black folks were Republican.
That's right.
Back in the Lincoln era.
That's right.
Yeah. Because the Republican Party seemed to care about
he was given the
the Democrats seem to care about us. They always seem to care.
Well, the reason that they seemed to care was because they were trying to beat the Confederate vote. See, they were trying to go ahead and push the Confederate power out of place because they were being challenged. And the only people they had that could help them with it were going to be coloreds at that time. So when that passed and the Confederate thing actually went away, they didn't need them cotton pickers no more. And see, that's what happens to us over and over again. I'm sorry, Professor, but that's what happens to us over and over again. We're easily balled up like a piece of paper and thrown away.
Absolutely. And because we haven't galvanized within ourselves.
Amen. Come on, preach.
To do like what one of the former presidents did when he started that birther movement. And all that birther movement was a voting block. And that voting block was based on a lie. So what lie or what is it? What is this? The only time we were galvanized as a people is when we had this belief that we were going to elect the first African-American president. See, historically, Black people, they vote more on a spiritual or when they believe that a Messiah is coming or something like that, we'll get galvanized to vote. But voting in our own political self-interest is not something that we've been, that we're really educated ourselves on. It has to be something spiritual on that. And plus, you can put that on Americans in general. Because the American people today, anybody that's voting to elect to keep rich people in office and not do anything for the masses, Ronnie Reagan ran that game on us for the times that when he was the president, and then the presidents that picked up after him. This last rep con, he was doing the Ronnie Reagan rhetoric when they start off saying, when they say, let's make America great again.
Right.
When they,
again.
When they come,
but it was so funny. It was such a thinly veiled rephrasing of "let's make America white again." It's like,
yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, but see, we don't exercise, we don't get galvanized for a single purpose for what we want.
Yeah,
you understand? We need to have a single purpose, because we've all learned this. In order for us to graduate from out of the 8th grade, each one, maybe not you, Buck, because they might have changed it, but I know I had to take a Constitution test.
Well, it was for high school for me. You couldn't graduate from high school without
taking a but either way it go, and what you learned in the course called civics is that the most powerful entity in the American political system is the voting bloc. The voting bloc. And we have failed to become a bloc for ourselves over and over and over and over again. And until we realize that once we decide to become a bloc on something, we can start demanding them politicians, hey, you either do something for us or you're going to get up out of there.
Yeah.
Know your value.
How do we do that? Professor,
Well,
what's it take to do?
I just said it. You got to become a voting bloc.
Right. But they said you got to
galvanize us.
Knowing your value.
It's a good point that the
power of your vote.
And I think this is a good point to point out that one of the professor's favorite females is running for governor in Georgia. And she has been going throughout the entire state, pulling people together, establishing a platform to be the governor of Georgia. Now, she got cheated out of that last time. It was just straight up ripoff.
I love
it. And she is now on the trail, and she's trying to parlay this across the country. Now, we got to remember, and this is so important because what Professor just said is something that we can't allow to happen again. There are people that are probably listening to this broadcast that did not vote for Hillary Clinton because they bought the hype.
What hype was that?
They said, well, you can't vote for Hillary. She's done so many bad things to people. And if you ask them the question of what did she do, nobody can answer that question. What did Hillary do that made her so bad? They talk about her husband, but they still cannot say what she did that would not have made her a better president than 45.
Other than the email server.
Right. And it was so many people that didn't vote that would not cast a vote at all. They wouldn't even go to the polls. Well, we had two choices. We either had 45 or we had Hillary. And I didn't like neither one of them.
So I didn't vote.
Right. But one of the things, Ron, I think
that's a problem.
Right. But the crossroads.
Well, those people that sat on the bench and did nothing, didn't vote.
But think about the people who sat on the bench and didn't vote, preferably a lot of white women, was because they weren't trying to upset their household. See, once again, we already know the history of women not being able to drive, women not being able to smoke, women not being able to vote at one point in our lives, not in our lifetime, us here, the 6 people, but in the history, okay? Now you got the first female, well, you had Shirley Chisholm, who actually tried to run before her.
Right.
But Shirley Chisholm didn't get as close as Hillary Clinton. Right. Now Hillary Clinton is on the main track, and now the support that she would have gotten, which would have actually taken her over coming from white women, failed. She didn't get.
That's right.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and that's what knocked her out
that's
of
what
not
knocked her out.
winning. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Been there for even a while, Chris.
Well, I listen, and this is why I jump in.
All right.
So you mentioned about Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry, Hillary Rodham Clinton. I'm sure her name's in the history books.
Absolutely.
There. She hijacked the Democratic Party because Donna Brazile reported in her book and in other interviews that it was Hillary Clinton supporting the party by paying out $50 to $30 million per month to the Democratic Party. So if I'm just out this money, y'all better vote for me. And that's it. That's all. If you're going to choose anybody else, you're going against the throne. That's how politics works. As you and I both know, all of us here know. It's who has the longest green, who has the most power.
Get that kind of money. Somebody told me one time, I can't remember though, how they got to be so rich.
Oh, man.
Her family got to be so rich.
Well, her family combined with being married to the president and, of course, speaking engagements to the private sector, that's serious money.
Right, but I think it had something to do with her family being the Waltons lawyers or something like that. At one time, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know that it was long.
She was secretary. She was in New York at one point, working there as a so she
was what was it, congresswoman or something out of New York.
But what I'm saying is, I think that her family,
the family
had
in
like
general.
I think they had like a.
Well, actually, she's originally from Chicago.
Illinois, outside of Chicago, right?
Yeah, and then she, when she got married, they lived in Arkansas because he was the governor of Arkansas.
Right, but it was the Waltons.
She was a lawyer.
Walmart was based out of Arkansas,
Bentonville.
and so
right,
Bentonville, Arkansas.
Right. Yeah. So I think her family or something was, or maybe she was the main lawyer for the Walton family or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's a Walmart connection. One of the reasons why she has so much money.
Oh yeah, you gotta think
even
about
with that, she was not the person that everybody should have jumped against when she ran for president. She won the the party nomination. She was their candidate for the Democratic Party. Whether she don't change her underwear but once a month, she still would have been a better president than 45. So it was nothing as negative about this woman that they could come up with to disgrace her, to keep her or discourage the people from wanting her to be the president. She did a great job as Secretary of State because she did that for a while. Every position that she was in, she stood on her own 2 feet. She did the job well. She represented the country well. And then to turn around and say, we don't want you as president, that was
they didn't want a woman.
Well, that was part
like they
of
were
it.
scared, like they were scared of her.
Yeah, that was part of it. But they tried to make it seem like we don't want this woman, any woman but that woman.
I don't even want a woman, period.
They didn't want a woman. There you go, Chris.
A lot of people were like that. Yeah.
They didn't want a woman, period.
Yeah, and that's a good old boys mentality.
Right.
Exactly. That's their mentality. But going back to Stacey Abrams, we cannot leave that out of the conversation. Right now, today, she is running for the state of Georgia
to be the governor. Make a donation.
This is
and to the senators that are running to keep their seats down in Georgia. We need to support them as well.
What's crazy is, I think the reason why the Republicans went all ham on this, voting legality and trying to make it tougher for people to vote is because Stacey Abrams scared the SH blah, blah, blah out of them. Like she almost won and should have won. So they were like, oh, whoa, wait a minute.
Well, it was out of the Republic. That scared them. That woke them up.
Right.
And then they lost. They lost the presidency. And so the only thing they could do then is to change the rules.
Right. And before Stacey got that close, it was not even in the realm of possibility that a black person or a Democrat or even any kind of Democrat, but especially a black woman, to become governor, and that scared the crap out of them. So that's why they were scrambling, trying to go to these rural areas and make it harder and harder and harder for.
Well, especially Buck with a state like Georgia. When you think about Louisiana, Alabama, and Georgia, Mississippi,
yeah,
that realm right there is danger zone. Okay,
yeah, that's the slave belt right there.
There's the slave belt, baby. You break that up, it's on a whole different thing.
Yeah, it's all about math. Okay, it's about the numbers. The number of black people in that southern belt, the Bible Belt, is phenomenal. It's a big number.
If Georgia caves, everybody else goes in.
Yeah,
if Georgia caves,
if you get the people out to vote, it'll be a different outcome.
I think the biggest concern though was that out of that belt we're talking about, Georgia is the most populous state.
That's correct.
So if it's the biggest one, then
everybody else caved. Yeah, you got a problem. Everybody else falls into place. They cannot have Georgia break down.
Yeah.
Well, let me give an encouraging statistic. I had a person on my show this week who mentioned this as a point of reference and a fact. Throughout the United States, people of color, black folks, brown folks, are the majority now in the United States. They will tell you that you do not have the numbers, but we do. We represent the strongest population in the United States now. So with those statistics, we should be able to win local elections without any hesitation or any problem.
But we're only 13% of the population. I don't
That's
understand
what they say. No. That's what he said. That's what they tell you, that you're only 13%.
Well, no. If it's a combination of people of color,
right,
Hispanic, black, all. Yeah.
Well, that's what he said. Black and
black, exactly.
And Asian.
Then the numbers are bigger.
Right.
Right.
So we own the majority of the population to be able to win any election.
But that's not a cohesive group,
that we participate in.
That's the problem.
But that's not a cohesive group. Yeah.
Okay, but you remember earlier, Professor said the voting bloc.
Right.
If we become united and become a powerful voting bloc, that's when the results are different. Okay, we became a voting bloc under Obama. Okay, people came out in droves like never before, and the outcome was
success.
Got the first black president.
Yep.
Yeah, but a lot of white people had to vote for Obama for him
of course,
to win.
they did,
And they did. A lot of them did.
Well, that was going back to the female thing with Hillary, because you got a choice. Are you gonna you
got a lot of white female votes.
Exactly, because they weren't gonna make their husbands upset voting for a female.
Right, but and you know what's
And a
also
lot of those white
interesting?
females went into the voting booth telling their husbands they were going to vote for the Republican, and they voted Democrat.
And they voted Democrat.
That's
but,
right.
You know, I think a lot of we kind of forget that one thing that 45 had working for him that we just don't really think about that much, but he had celebrity on his side.
Oh, the apprentice put him in office.
Right, exactly. We are so fat. The country is so fascinated with celebrity. It's just ridiculous. I mean, like, that's going to make him a good president. I don't get that at all. But
it's ignorance, okay?
Yeah,
and when I say ignorance, it means that you are uninformed about the realities. They don't know the difference between commentary and news. They don't understand the difference between an entertainer, bullshitter, you know, and a person that's running for office to do good for the country. They don't know the difference. They buy the hype. He was a lying, thieving, negative person, and he woke up the living dead.
And had no experience at all in any kind of government.
Didn't need it.
Or going back to what Buck said about people watching TV and thinking it's real. So you saw Trump and you saw him doing The Apprentice. So again, a lot of us heard about what he was trying to do. Was he was trying to create his own network. After he got bounced from NBC, going to run for the office, run for the president, need all this content, and have it start his own cable network.
Yeah, he wanted to get back at NBC, but
that's
then
what it was.
He started knocking off these,
NBC. That's what it was.
He started knocking off these Republicans running for the. He didn't want to be the president. Never wanted to be.
He's a businessman.
Yeah, he's a pimp, a media pimp.
And to verify that point, on this week, 45 had an interview with some broadcasters, and he was bragging over the fact that he wanted to debate against any Democrat how the election was stolen away from him, but no Democrat would debate him. And then his comment was, it would have been great ratings, by the way.
The way he says that about everything.
Everything, right.
He says that about everything.
Everything.
Oh, I was like, really?
You know, you take away the camera, take away the mic, he's fiending.
Yeah.
He's fiending at a.
Hey, remember when they cut him off of Twitter?
Right into his arm.
Remember they cut him off of Twitter for that short time? Yeah, or what, is it still? Maybe he's still banned.
Yeah, he's still banned. Yeah,
banned for life. Yeah,
and he started his own social media, and I think that crashed and burned. Right?
I mean, but they just cut his dick off, and it was just the funniest thing. It's like he just assumed he always like had that in his pocket. All I got to do is just get on Twitter. I can say whatever I want. I got power. Cut that off.
But let me say this: us as black people or people of color, or going back to what Reggie said about being human. When it comes to us as a people, and once again, I'm not anti anybody else, I'm just pro my own. There needs to be a behind the scenes conversation and get everything out of our system, what we have against each other, because it's the only way we're going to move forward. Because we do it to ourselves and we hate ourselves. We have to get past this. Whatever the differences are, that's the only way we can move forward, because we get in the way of us. We get in the we are our own worst enemy. So you can't always point and blame the white man for this and the white man for that. If we're killing each other in our own neighborhoods, the 4-block radius, I don't see no damn white people there. I see people look like me who kill each other over anything because we hate each other. Now, if we're able to go behind closed doors, it doesn't have to be anything major. It could be your own family. It could be just you and somebody else. It has to be a dialogue for us to move forward completely.
Amen.
One way it's going to happen, because right now we're putting our heads in the sands like ostriches and ignoring the obvious
and doing stupid shit like what
all the time.
Will Smith did on television, saying, "Oh yeah, we're black people, we're violent." What I mean, that's why that publicity stunt was so stupid. It made us look so bad.
You slipped that back in, didn't you?
Yeah. So look,
It made us look bad. It
let
really
me
did.
let me
What?
just
What?
Travis Smiley, when he had his State of the Black Unions, and he had one where there was one pastor, and this is the only time that I've ever heard it. This one pastor, his name is Reverend Charles Adams. I think he is out of Detroit. And he said emphatically to everybody that's there, he said, "Hit me up when it ain't no cameras around."
Right.
He said, "Hit me up when there's no cameras around, when you all want to talk about what we need to do to move forward." He said, "We need to craft that without somebody else in the room. And then we give what we craft to them after we're done with it. And until we make those type of moves, because we can never change ourselves in their media." I don't know if
and the fact that people act differently when the cameras are on. Listen, I do video for a living. When the cameras come on, all these lights and stuff.
I don't know if you heard me. We can't change what we do and who we are in their media. I don't know if you heard me.
Now, quiet as this kept, Reggie, they do have a black agenda that has been crafted and put together, and the playbook is in place, but nobody is implementing the playbook because it has been put together and it's in place waiting to be implemented, but it just ain't happened yet because there is a playbook, and it was put together without the lights, camera, action. Okay.
I've got to say something to a fellow friend and broadcaster, Barry Pope. He says, "Lee, please get me in here." What is the phone?
Oh, Barry, I love Barry Pope.
Oh my God.
Barry, the only way you can get in here is you got to get a roadcaster and a camera. I'm not letting you call in.
I grew up listening to him, man. One of the best morning man, if not the best morning man I've ever heard.
But let's talk about
Did he pay you to say
something.
that? No.
But
okay.
let's talk about something, because you just alluded to something that just failed. BNC.
Talk to me, baby. Talk
Black
to me.
News Channel.
Talk to me, baby.
Why did it fail?
Well, you know what? Can I say just real quick? I'm making this real quick. I think it's just because television at this point, television news is so much on the decline that a brand new network, the established networks are already in the toilet. So a new network coming along, even though it's a specialized product, it's just like it's TV, dude. TV's not happening. It should have been an online network. The cost would have been lower, and they could have sustained it longer. And that's where people are going to now. Everybody gets the news from here anyway. So.
I think there's some truth to some of the things that you said. I think, in addition to what you just said, the overhead, the cost, who was running it? Where was the experience in the management team? Okay? I don't know anybody that was running it. I've never seen it. So the marketing was not good. The distribution wasn't good. Who was the management team?
Well, let's talk
Who
about
was the
that.
talent? Let's dissect this thing, okay? Now, let's go back to Air America. Why did it fail?
Because we're not in control of it.
And they had a bunch of comedians on.
But then Al Jazeera failed too, so it's kind of like it's still TV.
Well, but you got to go back.
They can't just throw it as just TV. It's content, the quality of your content, the presentation. Just like when you do your imaging and shit. That's you put a lot of effort into it. You know what you're doing. You're qualified. You've been doing it for years. Most of the people in these operations didn't have that kind of experience. That's the problem, man. You can't have a successful broadcast entity with a bunch of neophytes running it.
I don't know if they were neophytes.
Work.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't know any of the ones that were doing it, but
Well,
just
I don't
because
think
I
anybody
didn't
on this panel knows one person that was on that management team.
And I even got even another compound question on top of that. Why didn't Byron Allen pick it up? He picks up everything else.
Let me jump in.
He probably analyzed the situation and said
it was whack.
It doesn't make it doesn't make sense.
Well, he buys them anyway.
But hold on, guys. Hold on.
I've been waiting to hear what Mike's trying to say.
J.C. Watts.
I thought you were gonna say J.C. Penney. I'm like, ooh.
J.C. Watts, a GOP congressman, was at the lead of this situation.
Right.
Tell me what African American. See, Bob Johnson doing BET was totally different than J.C. Watts.
Is that the one who owns the Jaguars?
No. He was a Republican, a black Republican congressman.
Oh.
That decides that he's going to start with YT, a black news channel. It started off wrong.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
See, right there, you can't say J.C. Watts and the black community in the same sentence. There's no relationship between the two. So how does a black man representing a party dominant in this time, because like we said earlier, in the Lincoln era, blacks were Republican. And over the course of time shifted to the Democratic Party. Here's a guy that played at Oklahoma. He's a GOP congressman, and he's starting a black news channel. What connections are he bringing? Everybody that he would have brought for support from Jesse Jackson down wouldn't have never stood next to him for this channel. Jesse, wow. Al, and the list goes on. It was destined to fail. It was a corporate entity that was put together that says, and it's actually the truth, and that's what I always say about reparations. I'm so afraid of us getting reparations because Louis Vuitton, Mercedes-Benz, and Gucci and everybody else are going to get all our damn money.
Damn right. And Nike. Did you say Nike?
Yeah, I just said Nike. Nike. They're going to get all our money. People who were living under overpasses now will have a shoe collection. You see what I'm saying?
Living in their Mercedes-Benz.
Living in their Mercedes-Benz. Getting put out of a home that they bought cash with, but they never paid the taxes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's sad to say.
Yeah. It's a problem with education.
Absolutely.
At home, in school, in your neighborhood.
Although I think that because my parents were they tried to instill that into me. Good credit and the whole nine, we all had it.
But most people didn't have that kind of influence.
But I happen to be really good with my money since I was a little kid. But I think black people just tend to be into this whole consumerism thing. I mean, we're spenders. Why are we spenders? We love to spend some money.
Showing out.
Was that the slave voice again? Why?
Go ahead, Professor.
No, it's deeper than that. Because we have never had anything.
Thank you.
And we're dying to be impressive.
But to ourselves.
Yeah.
But People come from other countries with nothing. They came from nothing, and they're in their country. They come over here and they don't act like that.
No, they don't, because they come here with a different. They come here with a different mindset,
and they had to have a certain educational level to even get into this country.
No, some of them were just refugees.
But like I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go to bed on you guys. I'm gonna go to bed on you guys.
No, you're
listen,
not.
But look,
but hold on, Professor. We'll let you wrap it.
You got you staying with us for 12 minutes, Professor. I don't give a damn what you're saying.
Oh,
people coming from other countries come here for the opportunity. They seize the moment. They capitalize on the opportunity that's given to them. And we are here and we're not taking advantage of the opportunity. We get a little bit of money, and as you said, spend it on some foolishness. We don't know how to invest because nobody is teaching us what or how to invest. Okay? That's the problem, man.
Can I share a testimony? And then I'm going to let the professor break it down.
Share something, because
I was about to say, there's our last 12 minutes right there. Go ahead, bro.
No. It's going to be quick,
Professor
fast.
Going with us. He ain't leaving us. He's going to be right here with us.
When I was in 4th grade, I had a European teacher that told me to my face that I did not need an 8th grade education because I wasn't going to do nothing but dig ditches for the rest of my life anyway. My mama came up to the school and got dead in her Kool-Aid.
She pulled out a Will Smith.
Yeah, well, she didn't put hands on, but she let them know.
Did she rip her wig off when she did it?
She let her know, you don't speak to my child like that ever again. And this was during the time when we had riots in Chicago for King dying. So we were put on a negative path to begin with. Go ahead, Professor.
Set us free, man. Come on.
Listen, guys. I've said this. I said this over and over again. And I'm gonna say it just one more time. We can continue to have these discussions, and I don't want to say anything against what's being put out by the elite. I think one of our first fights should be one of our own fights to have our own means to present our own messages. We can't be in somebody else's house trying to put out our own message. We got to have our own house. We have to have our own houses. That's just the first thing. We can't be with iHeartRadio talking about blackness. We got to have our black radio, talking about blackness, because iHeartRadio is talking about what they want to talk about. The operation of the company reflects the ideals of its ownership. We look at this every day under FOX News, that's owned by Rupert Murdoch and has his one ideology that's out there. We see the blueprint, but then now we got to fight to have that. We have to fight to have the way to produce our own, to put our own content, our own messages out there. Not to be, and I know all of you all agree, not to be against the status quo, what's going on, just to have fairness and the balance. See, we can't allow them to just have what their messages is come upon us all the time, because we get duped. You can't expect for somebody who never had nothing to know how to do something with something when they never had nothing in the first place. It's a constant trial. It's a constant trial and error. But I think we would have better results if we would tend to be able to produce, as Lee says so many times, our own content. We got to be our own content providers, because if we allow the networks to do stuff and put stuff over us, we'll be arguing over slaps on the stage at the Oscars. We'll be arguing over that. We'll have our own women getting polarized. Well, he was supposed to fight for my aunt. It's so many arguments that's sending us in so many directions out from each other. We need to have a content venue or a content provider that pushes us to in the direction that pointing towards towards us. But every message we see is we going this way, we going that way. Women hollering about he should have been fighting for his honor. Other people hollering about he should have stood up for the black community. Chris did this and doing that. But ain't nothing coming towards the center, coming towards our hearts as a people. And people from other countries can come in here and do what they want to do because they have a nationality and a birthright. We can't sit here and say that. We can't sit here and say that. When a foreigner comes in, you can tell from their last name which country that they came from. You could tell
But not. Let me just jump in, Professor. It's not that they haven't been through oppression.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But they've overcome it.
Absolutely. But the way the Constitution and stuff is written here, it is written for people that have a nationality. That's why these foreigners can come in here with different laws that benefit them, because they come from a sovereign nation. We were slaves. We have no country. We have no nationality and birthrights. So this is what we got to start, Chris, and I'm going back to, man, treat me like a human. Because the first line in your Constitution said, well, all men are created me equal. That human thing, based on no country and stuff like that. But we can see Arabs come over here and then they get special treatment because they come from a sovereign nation and they can do things like that. And then when they come to this country, they start living within their own neighborhoods. They start banking within their own neighborhoods. When we don't do that, we have an argument. One of our first arguments with each other is that we argue with our own women. You can never have a peaceful and a strong nation without the atoms that are close together, and the both atoms got to be that male and that female. That's the most powerful, unit, in the family when those two get together. But
family in general. The family in general. Yeah.
Well, the family starts with the relationship between a man and a woman.
Absolutely.
So let's get to that bare essence. We fighting our own women,
and they fighting us.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. So we need to find that balance, and it first starts off with do we know how to treat our women? Do we know how to treat them? And then if we do, what are we comparing it to? Do we have a country that says how we supposed to treat the women? No, we don't. We don't know. We've been on a trial by error for the longest. Billy Preston made a song. I'm going to tell y'all again. He said, nothing
from nothing
leaves nothing.
Somehow I knew that was going to show up today.
And three of us said lyrics in that we all said it. So the thing is, we got to start producing substance among ourselves. And then we need that one platform that allows us to distribute the message. But if there's a fear factor by the elite that they never want to see us have anything, because if we have something to whereas we are showing images, positive images towards ourselves, we'll get away from them. We won't be spending our money, as much money with them, and they have to protect that. So they keep us divided. They keep us fighting amongst each other. They keep us fighting our women.
You know what's funny though? I think the internet is changing everything, because now you don't need a BET or anybody else's stage. You can do everything on your own, and it's going to get to a point where
that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have it, Buck. And I'll say this: in the event of a natural disaster, the internet is rendered useless because
it depends on the natural disaster.
It requires power, Buck. When Hurricane Katrina,
right, but so do TVs. If you're gonna watch a TV, you gotta have power.
Let me finish. Now, let me finish. Before, when Hurricane Katrina hit, everything was knocked out. Everything. The FCC forced a low power FM station, a man, to turn up his transmitter, had him to take it up to 50,000 watts so he can pump information in there. And you know, you can build a radio that does not have power, that doesn't need power. It's called a crystal set. You could build one. So we got to have some type of means, some type of communicate. We got to have that. And it can't come from stuff that we can't own and control ourselves. You know, we got to have that. You know, there are frequencies up there in the sky. There's another band. There's other bands up there, but our scientists got to tell us where they are and get us
and give us access to it.
Yeah, you know, and this is what we got
frequencies
to do
right now.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. But we're so reliant. We're so reliant on others instead of the reliance being on ourselves. Because the minute we try to go out and try to do something, you know, he gonna get back and stand back in a minute, but he knows that we're going to fail because, number one, the BNC was doomed to fail because it wasn't in Chicago
or Atlanta or DC or New York.
It wasn't in the major metropolitan area.
It was in like Tallahassee, Florida.
Tallahassee. It was stupid.
Yeah, so it was doomed, and I never saw it. So one of my first fights, you know, and I was asking, why can't I see this? Because I wanted to see it. I really wanted.
Was it not on a cable station in Chicago?
Probably so. It was.
Oh yeah, it was on DirecTV, all the big things. Yeah, I mean, it was in the top of the list.
It was in DirecTV. I don't know why I could. AT&T. I'm on AT&T, and they part of Direct. Yeah, but I never could get it. I never could get it.
I got it.
And I
never saw it.
Right. Yeah. And so of course it was gonna fail. And it was ironic, right? If you notice that at that time, that as soon as they launched that 2 years ago, that all the major YT networks, they start launching Black news information channel.
Like,
so they was coming
like BIN.
Yeah, they was coming at it to make sure that that whenever this thing did start, it wasn't gonna be able to get no advertisers because they were doing it too. You understand? You know, it was a cutthroat thing. So how do we get something and support it and keep it for ourselves?
Yeah, Black Information Network. That's a whole nother. I mean, just a terrible. Not that the content's terrible, but it's on nothing but little AM stations around the country that nobody.
Yeah, but they put that out there. Anyway. But they put that out there. The minute that JC watched them decided they were going to launch up, CNN started their own black division. It was just like the record companies. They all had their own black music network marketing things. And all the white majors started putting having focus on black news. Just because this one man that decided to do something for ourselves. So it just shouldn't have been one. It should be about 4 or 5 people coming out at the same time.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me, and I know we got to wrap it up, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was some sort of brown people, minority-oriented type of news network where they didn't just talk about black news, but it was all about people of color, Latinos,
Listen, I don't
Indians.
care. I don't care what it is. We need something because we have all broadcasting Caucasians. nothing but Caucasians. And we have the Caucasians broadcasting system. That's all we have.
KBS.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
fellas,
all we have.
I'm going to put a period on it for tonight, and we'll come back next Thursday, and I'm sure we'll continue the conversation.
Or exclamation point on it.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. We can do that too. Period, dot. But listen, let me say this again to all of those that are watching us right now that are not subscribers. Please subscribe, because that helps the algorithm for us to get more viewers. We're trying to grow the network. We need you to subscribe, like, and comment. Share it with your friends. Let them know what's going on. The reason this Black network failed was a lot of reasons from the beginning. And I remember hearing about this Black TV network for 5 years before it went on the air. It was like, oh, it's coming next year. It's coming 6 months from now. And it was about 5 years of development. And then it finally came, and then it went.
They should have had us on there.
So, well, somebody. But the thing about it is, where there's a war going on over in Europe, an invasion into a sovereign country, and those people are running out of that country, their country, Ukraine. Over 4 million people have left there. 40 million plus, 42, 44 million people in that country that are having to leave their homes. Some of them are coming here. They're going to other countries in Europe, but some of them are going to end up here. And I guarantee you, there'll be pockets around the 50 states where there'll be Ukrainian neighborhoods.
I think it'll be treated well.
Yeah. Why? Because they know how they live, and they're comfortable living with themselves. They have certain lifestyles, customs, cuisine, language. It's a comfort zone.
And America's going to give them citizenship too. Oh yeah, come on in. You white, come on.
They may have to, go through the normal process. But the fact of the matter is, they will come here with a different attitude than we as Americans who were born here. That's the difference. They come here with a purpose. They have to come here to thrive and do better. And they know that there's a better opportunity here. And in some of the other countries they're going to, Poland, Hungary, and Germany and all that, it's going to be better than where they lived before. But those customs, those beliefs, that family value is going to come with them. And that's okay. It's not wrong. It's not bad. But my point in my little speech here is, we have to learn from other customs, other people.
That's all I've been saying.
It is.
That's all I'm saying.
We have to understand coming together, not to exclude, because you can't.
That's right.
You don't have the ability, the foundation, the wherewithal. We don't own enough. We don't manufacture enough. We don't develop enough of anything right now to say, we're going to go over here in this little area and we're not going to do business with anybody else but people in this circle. Can't do that.
Right.
And the people coming from Ukraine and Poland and Germany and Russia and Israel and all the other countries around the world, China, they don't have the ability, but they got a stronger possibility than what we exercise here in this country, because we are still acting like crabs in a barrel.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't want to see me do better. I don't want to see him do better. And we don't want her to take our job because we're males. It's foolishness. We have to go past all of that. Unite. President, the professor said it earlier. We got to become a voting bloc. Georgia, The eyes are on you. And we have to support Georgia in making that dream come true to make sure that the new governor is going to be somebody that looks like us. We have to make sure we have to make donations. If you don't live in Georgia, you can support the movement by making a donation. I do. I send money every week to various states in the agenda that's trying to succeed. If we don't do that, then we're just providing lip service. You've got to commit. You got to engage. You got to get involved. Spend $2, $3, $5, whatever you can afford. Whatever you can afford, but help out.
Yeah,
we can win with volume.
If we do it on just support what's still here, but then just pay. If you got $3, put $2 on over there, but make sure you put $1 on what we can do for ourselves.
Right.
You know, we need black banks. You know, we know the drill, man. We need black banks. We need everything our own. We need keep doing what you're doing, but some of our money has to stay within our own communities. You know, everything just can't keep going out of the communities all the time.
Yeah.
You know, we can't. We need to have a black mart, a Walmart, or whatever. You know, and then those big old stores. Now, you go into the store and you think everything is in there. I think one of the worst things that what I do when I go in one of those superstores and I don't see every shelf stocked. That pisses me off. I get mad, you know, because I remember I could go in that old local store when we had the A&P, you know, and pick up everything that I needed. Now you got these big fancy superstores, and then it was one time you couldn't find a box of premium saltine crackers. You know, that was my favorite cracker. And I was really got mad at that. It was like for weeks that these big stores couldn't get a box of premium saltine crackers.
Was that during COVID or before?
No, this was just recent. It was
Really?
but last 4 or 5 months.
As militant as Professor Reggie Miles is, I'm surprised he associated himself with any type of cracker.
With a right. Bring it on in, baby. Let's go.
Way to go, baby.
Oh, help.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, fellas, we got to pull the plug. And listen, thank you to this fantastic group. You know, we come up with good debate and arguments, and it's all in to try to enlighten, educate, and have a little fun at the same time. We poke at each other, but it's because we love each other. Until next Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And you know the time zone that you're in, so I'm not going to go through that. Meet us here. Subscribe, like, share, tell a friend. Good night, peace, love, and don't smack nobody.